she's holding up the phone to like computer.
Just curious, the first one, and count.
Yeah, that's all the functions. She just did it with the song.
Everybody can hear me? Yeah, great. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone, and welcome to today's AI Tech Share event, and which is held by ASUG and US Asian Technology Management Center. First of all, I would like to say thank you to Stanford US Asian Technology Management Center, because as an organizer, they provide such amazing venue for us. And as another co-organizer, ASUG actually was established in March 2018. Now it is one of the largest, it is the largest community, AI community in China. Of course, we want to expand the largest AI community in America. We actually have this type of AI Tech Share event for every month, and also we have AI paper explanation analysis online, and we also do online stream for all these AI Tech Share event. So before I introduce our first speaker, please allow me to introduce Dr. Dasher, the director of Stanford US Asian Technology Management Center. Welcome, Dr. Dasher.
Thanks. I won't take more than 10 seconds. It's good to see some people from our email list here and a lot of people who I don't know. So I'd like to recommend that you take a look at asia.stanford.edu and sign up for our weekly email event announcements. We only send out about one message a week, and it's usually an event related to high technology business and Asia in the area. So we're really happy to cooperate with TechShare this evening. It's an exciting looking program, and I'm looking forward to it too.
Thank you, Dr. Dasher. Our first speaker actually is Christine Payne, and she's such an amazing person, because I know her story is actually last year. She started taking AI course from Deep Learning AI. I heard that, but now she become the research scientist at OpenAI, and also she created this MuseLite, a transform-based music generation model, and this model has been recently used to compose a piece for the BBC Philharmonic. So also, actually, Christine has a very, very diverse and interesting background. For example, she is a well-trained pianist. Also, she's particularly interested in the collaboration of AI and music. And additionally, she holds a neuroscience master in Stanford and got a bachelor degree in Princeton in physics. So today she will talk about transformer-based MIDI music generation. Welcome, Christine.
Thank you so much for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here. As I'm saying, I've been recently working on my music background with transformer-based language modeling sort of generation, and getting some exciting results that I'm happy to share with everyone. I thought I'd dive right in by playing a few of the samples so you can get a sense of the sort of diversity that the model is able to do. So this is a model that's working on MIDI music, but it's learning the rules of music all by itself and not giving it any information about musical structure, rhythm, anything like that. So here's an example of it playing a piece that it sort of composed in the style of Beethoven, trying to imitate Beethoven for violin and piano. No, shoot. So I'll pause it there, but the piece actually will go on for a few minutes like that, and like as a transition, like I feel like I can actually hear the sort of language that's unique to each of these composers. Just to, do you hear the sample that I'm holding like up like that? It's okay. Okay, this is the same model, but instead of generating a jazz style piece. All right, so I'll put it up there again, but again, it'll go on for a while. Okay, so as I mentioned, the focus on this is on MIDI generation, and MIDI being a sort of event-based music encoding. So you'll have information like this note turns on at this time, at this volume, wait a certain amount of time, and the note turns back off. We're of course losing a lot of the sort of musical nuances that a human performer would do. So in that sense, I'm thinking of this model as more a composer rather than a performer. There are other people who are working more on raw audio generation or ways to perform the way a human might, but this isn't coming for that at all. So my goal with this though is to have a single model that is very flexible because it knows all of these different styles. That can do these sort of long-term structures. So right now I've been focusing on pieces that are around 2 to 4 minutes long, and it's trained on hundreds of styles. Right now I have it doing 10 different instruments, but there's really not a hard limit on that. And I'm personally most interested on styles that can really only be done with a good neural net, because there are lots of other ways to do music, getting sort of rules based on knowledge we have about harmonies. But this is a model that's able to just learn by examples. And so to me, that's the way to get sort of these super complicated composers and harmonies. And then the last reason I'm interested in this is that it's a really good modality for testing what neural nets can do. So we have neural nets that are able to do text generation. It's a little more, it's harder to tell how good a long-term structure generation is. You can sort of get the sense that the model's getting off the plot, but it's not quite as obvious as if you're listening to music and you hear it being come back exactly, or you hear that the rhythm stays constant and predictable. So it's a little more obvious when a model is failing at a long-term structure. So it's a nice test ground. So to kind of go through what I want to cover, just kind of go over the language model in parallel, how I encoded the music to work like this, the sort of data sets that I'm using, just a little bit about the transformer architecture itself that I'm using, and then the sort of genre and instrumentation information that I'm using to be able to steer the generation. And lastly, I want to bring up this, I've created a human co-composer interface where you have this experience where you're kind of guiding the way the piece should go. And that's one of the things that I'm most interested in, is how we can make this a tool for musicians to use, or even non-musicians. So kind of briefly over language models. Right now we're usually using either LSTM or transformer architectures to do language modeling. There's a sense that you're using, so because I'm looking mostly at generatives, you have this sense where you're looking at the past to predict what the next word should be. So you're basically training on this outer regressive past where you have data where you're just always looking for the next word. So a great example, something like the very first word is a totally unknown model, just has to take a wild guess. Once we give it a single token, it then must predict the next one based on that. and so forth. And so humans will, fairly quickly get a sense of what's supposed to come next. Here, there might still be a few words, you say like 50% chance it's or maybe 20% chance it's a, that you can kind of come up with your probabilities of what the next token should be. And then the farther along you go, the more information you have, the more confident you might become on your predictions. So the process of this is training a model on this kind of data, tons and tons of this kind of data, and then you can easily turn that into a generative model by then taking the outputs and feeding them back in sequentially to create a totally new generation. So the problem I'm facing is how do you take this sort of language model setup and create a good encoding for music. And part of the problem with music is that it's really at its heart not exactly as sequential as word for word input. So kind of in this toy example here, you see like even initially you have two notes that are playing at the same time. We have a lot of different information we're trying to capture. We're trying to capture that the top note is held longer than the bottom note. There's a sense of like time progressing, so you have to keep track of like how long to wait for the next note. It's not even a steady time. You might sort of like sometimes have faster notes kicking in. It's just a lot of nuance that you're trying to capture. So I've actually spent a fair amount of time playing around with different encodings, and they tend to matter a lot. I did a sort of chord-wise system where, and I think this is in the way that in language you might think of dealing with whole words, where here I'm saying like any combination of notes that you ever play at one time is going to be a chord. So they're like the C and the C together at the beginning, that's a single chord, that's a single token. And then move over times 7, and that G is another single token. So the nice thing about that is it's a very sort of condensed representation. You can get pretty long generations, like an entire show on the log is hundreds of tokens rather than thousands or more than that. The trouble being that it ends up being easy for the model to memorize pieces on this way because you have such a large vocabulary. So I also played around with a different system which I'm calling the note-wise system. And there what I'm doing is I'm listing each note that's happening in a time step. So here's this T and the next C, then the amount of time that you're supposed to wait until the next one. And that can really be sort of related to the music itself, related to the tempo you're in, or in certain absolute seconds. Then information about ending that note, starting the next note. And that tends to be a more flexible encoding. So kind of going more into that note-wise encoding, the first thing I was trying was kind of focusing only on the pitches. And the nice thing with kind of going to that extreme is then you can really, you again have this like most condensed system. So with only a few tokens, you can go ahead and represent a pretty long piece. Of course, the trade-off is you're losing information, like I'm at that point dropping how long for each node, how loud the node is, which instruments it is. But on the other hand, you can get into really nice, very long musical structures. And actually, this picture on the right is a visualization of the, you take the embeddings that the model learns for your different notes, and then you edit systems with a T-schema of those embeddings. You can see that it actually kind of learns this nice structure where like, all the aids are kind of similar, all the notes that you would expect to be similar, end up drawn to each other. But yes, so the other extreme is kind of attempting to capture all the information. Like you can even think of just throwing the full MIDI file into the model. And that may very well be the direction we're going with this. But the trouble is you end up with a large vocabulary. It's easier for the model to be memorizing things. It's harder for it to remember to, if you turn on a random node, it has to remember to turn it off later. So it's easier to make mistakes with this large vocabulary. And so middle ground encoding that I've ended up with right now is I have single tokens that represent a combination of instrument, volume, and pitch. So it'll be something like piano, volume 80, like a C middle. And so that's right now the combination that I found that is still very condensed. But you can keep multiple instruments, you can keep the expressivity that you get from that. So just an example of what that ends up looking like. So for the piece here, I went started with a low G. There's also a D, there are this volume, then there's information about how long you're supposed to wait for the next node. And this is, again, yeah, I'm going to wait again a moment later. So, and then if I need to turn the node off, I just turn the volume 0. That's very similar to actually how many files work themselves. I'm also giving it additional embeddings. So transformers traditionally get a position embedding. So, sort of the sequencing piece. I'm also giving it information about what the time is. So all of these two nodes are happening at time 0. These things happen at time 6, the next things happen at time 12. So it has a way of referencing all of these that happen at a given moment in time. And this last is end token. I created this as a way to request an ending to a piece. Otherwise, the generator just kind of goes on as long as it wants to go on. So I have trained it to, right now it's the start of the piece, so it's not on, but it does a countdown from like 127 down to 0 as you reach the end of the piece. And this way, as you're generating, if you want to request that it wrap it up, you just go ahead and you start that token countdown. So I thought I'd dive just briefly into transformer architecture itself. And I don't know, I imagine a lot of you are familiar with this. But traditionally, language models were either using recurrent networks or it's more attention-based networks. I kind of think of a recurrent network as you just have to remember everything as you go. So you're kind of like accumulating all the things you've seen in the past. And at each moment deciding like, oh, this is important, I should remember this, or I think I can safely forget this. But as you get to that moment where you have to make a decision on what to predict, if you've decided to forget something that was important, there's no way to undo that. It gets harder and harder to look back at things that are far away. Whereas attention-based models, they give you a fair amount more flexibility, where as you're making this decision here, you can realize like, oh, actually I should remember this is my like composer token. I should actually look back to this very first token, or this might be the token that's on the instrument. So it'll learn, it has more flexibility to look back a long time in sequence. And just, I thought I'd do very briefly how I was doing this. Sorry, I should know this, but I don't know how many of you are familiar with transformer architectures already. Yes, no. Okay, I'll do super fast on this then. So it's doing this attention by throwing out key and query pairs. So at each position, the embedding that you have for a note, so each position knows what note it's starting with. It translates that through 3 different weight matrices into 3 different values. So you have a query value, a key value, and then that factor value. So I think of the key as like the node itself saying like, oh, I know the channel node or something. It's the, if you want my information, look this up. The query is for as you need to look back at previous positions, you can say, I want to find any position that's going to give me information about guitar or something like that. And then the value itself is the value that will get passed forward if you were kind of that lucky position that got chosen to get its information forward. So each position, in that way, each position is able to look back. And these multiple heads are literally just that. It's able to kind of choose, like each one of the heads chooses effectively one position to look back at. So it may have, a given node may learn, like always look back where this previous note was, always look back to like what the composer is, and then always look back to the instrument. You can kind of have the flexibility of where to look back. So, and then just summarizing about the transformer model, it's sort of using that attention idea and then doing many, many layers of that. So I was kind of describing attention over one layer, but the transformer I'm using is actually 72 layers deep, which gives it a lot of expressibility. And kind of the traditional transformer model was set up to be a language translator. So there's this idea that you went from maybe like French inputs into an encoding and then decode it out as English. For the generative part, I'm using only this decoder side of it. But yes, it ends up being a huge model. It's 4,096 context means that it's able to look back thousands of nodes. And then the embedding size is just like how much information is carrying at each node. Additionally, I embedded into this something else on the inner critic where as I'm training the model, I'm usually giving it training from the data set, but I'm sometimes giving it generations that the model itself has created. So it's kind of taking from the GAN style. And it has to have an extra head that's predicting whether it thinks it's doing real training data or fake data at any moment. And having that auxiliary task helps. It helps in training the model in the first place, and it also helps in generation where you can then end up choosing samples that have better scores. And then, as I mentioned, I've added in these additional positional embeddings. So not just the traditional positions that you have for transforms, but some extra. So I thought having such a big model means that you can actually just dump tons and tons of different styles and be able to just learn all these different styles. So in addition to the sort of classical and the jazz I played earlier, I thought I'd say this is it doing ragtime music. So the nice thing about having so many different styles is that it's able to generalize. So things that learns about one style, there's a lot of crossover. So as you learn harmonies in Mozart, it can carry over to pop songs. It can also carry over so that I've had composers now use their pieces to add into it, and even though some people have 8 or 10 MIDI files, the model is actually able to learn those because it's not learning everything from scratch each time it tries to learn a new style. So to talk just briefly about the data set itself that I used for this, I basically ended up just collecting as many MIDI files as I can find. Some of these were given to me directly, so I want to thank in particular Classical Archives, who sent me 20,000 MIDI files, and then BitMIDI also, which has hundreds of thousands of files. And then Google also has a really nice Maestro data set. And then that's what this set is that this was actually drawn from a piano competition. So it's using Yamaha pianos that record in really good detail everything that's happening. So this is the data set that sounds most like the way a human would perform it. And then as I mentioned, I also have a bunch of modern composers who have sent me their pieces. And then just a bunch of MIDI files that I found elsewhere online. It's like a lot of pop music, everything Arabic, African drums, jazz, all sorts of things. So there's a lot in this model. So that raises the question of like, so what do you do with a huge data set? And MIDI files can be really bad. Like there's some awful sounding MIDI files on the internet. And clearly you don't really want a generator that's just creating more of those. You want to be able to steer. So one of the first things I did was just kind of prioritizing the data sets themselves. Initially, I'm training on pretty much everything with, it doesn't matter, anything can be in the data set. And then as the training goes on, I end up fine-tuning a little bit more, prioritizing the nicer sets that I'm going to take. So I have that. I have also, the other issue that I realized is that there's a difference between like slow pieces where not a lot is happening, end up kind of very underrepresented in the data set because even though it might take 20 minutes to listen to them, they may be, 1,000 tokens or something like that, or something very short. So it's very easy to have an overrepresentation of the super fast node pieces because they just have proportionally more tokens. So I do try to balance so that I was more often, or kind of striking a balance between a little bit upweighting songs that were slow. And then the last trick I used for this was I pulled out 2 different validation sets. One was a set that just like mimicked very much my training data, and that was sort of not like looking directly for overfitting. But then the other one was matching the kind of pieces that I actually wanted to generate, and because one of the problems in comparing models is like how you actually kind of compare which model is better than another model. And so I found that having this second validation set that was more close to what I wanted to be doing helped give me a stronger signal for them. And then along with that, I ended up, I added in a fair amount of data augmentation. I and you can easily transpose pieces into all keys, just bumping up and down the pitches, stretching, like slowing down the pieces, speeding up the pieces, playing around with the volumes. With the instruments, I played around a little bit, mapping instruments to other instruments. I kept mostly 2 similar instruments, although I guess, especially early on in training, you could probably go crazy with it. And then the last thing I played around with a bit is doing adding mix-up to the training. So like literally superimposing, once you have the pieces translated into their embeddings, you can literally just add the embedding of one piece onto the embedding of another piece. So you end up having like 95% of piece number 1 and 5% of piece number 2. And then as it's trying to predict the next note, it has to match that and kind of be 95% sure it's piece number 1's note and 5% sure it's piece number 2's note. So that just ends up being a nice way to avoid overfitting. And then another thing that helped a lot when dealing with the NESI data set was having these initial tokens of knowing the genre and the instruments to expect. So I have it so that even if the training sample itself is coming from the middle of the piece, it's always starting with the very first token is going to be the composer, and the second token is always going to be the instruments. And one nice side effect of that is that you can then kind of look at what the model has learned about all these composers. And here is sort of like a geeky classical, I'm a classical musician, so I love this one because this, like, it decided all the French composers were together, and Ravel even like wrote a Spanish piece, and so it's thrown in a Spanish composer that is very related to. Way over here, there's pop ones, there, like all the different genres end up mapping out very much as you would hope. So it kind of gives you some confidence that it's learning meaningful things about these different genres. The other kind of fun thing that you can do, starting with that composer instrumentation and then notes format, is then you can prompt it with the wrong setup. So so here I gave the model Bon Jovi, and then this sort of like lineup for a pop song, and then I started it with the first few notes of the Chopin Nocturne. So it doesn't, it's not really geared to be a style transfer model in any way, but you can actually hear the model try to work its way through, it's like literally the first 6 notes are Chopin, and then it tries to work its way into the pop song. I'll play a little bit of it. So this is already the model making it up. Five seconds and then the band kicks in. Fairly plausibly a Chopin Nocturne pop song, which I think is kind of fun and wild. Yeah, I mean, I think if you asked me to write a pop song based on this, I don't know that I could have done better, so it's kind of fun to be able to play with this. And it actually, this piece goes on, I think, for like 2.5 minutes or something. It's pretty elaborate. So along with this, along with some people at OpenAI, we developed an interface where you can interact with this model. And it's up on our blog. You can visit it. I can share the link, but it's, if you look up OpenAI and UseNet, a little bit of this. And this is sort of a prototype of the sort of interactions that I'm really excited about for the way humans will be able to collaborate with AI in a creative way. So the way you start out here is you pick your composer at the top, or if you want to imitate a certain style. You can optionally pick an intro. For like demo, I have things like the start of like Harry Potter or things like that, like famous songs people recognize. And you pick your instruments. The number of tokens is sort of, if you want it, basically at this point you're controlling, do you want the model to do most of the work? So you can have the model generate big chunks and then you just kind of pick between those. Or some people are like having it generate just super, super tiny, just a few notes at a time. And this way you can really steer the generations very carefully. But the nice thing about this, what the model does is it proposes 4 different ways to start the piece. you pick your favorite, and then you hit this button to keep going, and it'll come up with 4 different ways to continue. You again pick your favorite, and then you keep going this way. And so a lot of people have actually been using this to now compose pieces, and it's I think that is a sort of composing at a higher level, so that you're no longer thinking like what note do I have to pick next. It is very much more so even non-musicians can say, oh, I actually like this one a lot. I'm going to go with this melody, and you can kind of go more on instinct rather than even not having any musical training at all. You can have that feeling of composing. So along with that, I'm like very excited. I'm actually tomorrow going to London to work on this, but there's a composer who has. He originally sent me some of his MIDI files, and I trained the model on his music. And what he's been doing is he's writing a little bit, giving that to the model spits out a little bit, then he writes a little bit more. It's kind of, he described it as being really crazy the first time that he heard the model trying to imitate being him, because he was like, oh, it's coming up with ideas that like they feel like they're my ideas, but it's not me. So I'm really excited about future collaborations like this. The concert itself is happening in a month. The same thing with that some people are reaching out with K-pop and Bollywood. Someone reached out with whale songs, which I'm kind of super excited about, but I'm not sure what the model's going to do with that. And then in general, just it's been really fun starting to collaborate with current composers. One of the things I'm working on right now is making this demo itself more flexible, although I'm about to open source the code, so basically, hopefully other people will take it and run with making a nice interface. And then looking forward, I'm still wanting to push a little bit on the long-term structure. I'm really excited that right now, as you listen to pieces, you'll hear it come back to melodies. Like 2 minutes later, you hear it coming back to a melody from the beginning, which is something that like I certainly haven't heard before in music generation, especially when you're not giving it rules. Like you're not telling it ahead of time, here's a melody that you should return. I'm also really interested in improving the way that humans will be able to kind of push the way that the generation will go. So to be able to say, like at this moment, it should be like the climax of the piece right here, or it should be a sad moment here. Basically ways to kind of guide and have a little bit more influence about how the piece will go. And then I'm also really interested in kind of generating music based on other inputs. So I've had a bunch of people are super excited about using this music for video games, and one of the directions I think would be really fun would be like having the music itself relating to what's happening in the game. Similarly, kind of including lyrics, either lyrics that people have written and having a piece generate, having the model generate something that will relate to those lyrics, or even just tying it into a language model and having it try to do the entire thing. And then the other main direction I'm interested in is, and a lot of other people are working on this, but just generating the raw audio tunes. So you can sort of hear the MIDI files, like composers work in MIDI files, musicians work in MIDI files, but to most people, MIDI files sound ridiculous because the instruments aren't great. And so it is a big limitation not to be able to get the texture and the timbres really safe. And yeah, thank you. This is not really. The only labels are I have some information about the composers. So for each piece, I sort of knew, and in some cases I didn't know. Like for the pieces I didn't know where they came from, we just got an everything token. But in most cases, I just had like folders that were, these are all the MIDI files from a certain band. But otherwise, it's, the models.
Essentially, it's learning representations from supervised.
Yes. Yeah. Very much so. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so at each moment, it's having to learn structure in order to get better and better at that task of predicting what comes next. But I'm not getting any sort of yes or no.
What are the accuracy scores or any other?
Yeah, I have sort of a loss, which is like very dependent on the length of the structure you're doing. So I can kind of get back to specific numbers, but it's very much, it's also, model has to like hedge a little bit because like, it's funny, there's some pieces where it like specifically learns to play wrong notes in some of the Chopin runs kind of thing, because like, I guess a lot of the data itself, people would hit random wrong notes, and so yeah, there's a little bit of accuracy from that. And so it has to hedge a little bit, because at each moment, there's not one specific correct answer.
Do you have more information to verify, or just, my question is, why would you not just, with the verify?
Yeah, I think that it probably will be in the direction of going to the MIDI file. It's mostly to condense it a little bit. So the MIDI files also have, I mean, it's very much just a way of like translating that into fewer tokens and kind of trying to get the essence of it. But MIDI files have things like multiple tracks going on, or they'll have things like switching instruments in ways that would make it a little bit more complicated for the model to track. You might have the same instrument across two different channels. Things that just make it a little bit more, a few more degrees removed from the essence of this instrument playing this note. And so basically just trying to translate those into as simple a system to predict and consistent. Because the MIDI files, like they'll have events that happen in like just slightly out of order, or it's not consistent. You like always go from the lowest note to the highest note. And so I just did, or you might have like multiple notes. And so just basically simplifying it.
How do you learn about harmony?
It really is learning about harmony just from this experience of always having to predict the next note. So it over time learns that if it's seen like a C major chords, like C, E, G, like a very likely next note might be the next C up. And it's just because it's seen it so many times, it's learning that. So I'm not actually getting any information ahead of time. And in some ways, that was what was funny about trying to include modern composers, because they're like so different from a lot of the regular harmonies that it's a bit of a challenge. Yeah.
Where do you see this going long term? Is it to replace Diplo with Berlin Philharmonic? Could you release Jimi Hendrix's next album?
Well, I think there are two directions. I think certainly the raw audio generation in particular is going to get a lot better, and I do think that in a couple of years we will have pieces that sound like they're the next great hit. Could be an AI composition, but I also think that there's a certain amount of what I'm really excited about is that it gives anybody this experience where they can compose. So it sort of lowers the bar to, you don't have to know harmony, you don't have to know how to plan out a piece. You just have to be able to recognize what you like. So you can imagine having like a personalized playlist that's just, the pieces for your own day, like as you're walking along, things that really resonate with you. I think there's always going to be that sense of like, this is my piece that I really love. And like, even though, so I've gone through and composed pieces here, and even though I wasn't the one putting note to note for it, it still feels like my piece, because I was the one that was like kind of choosing it along the way. And I think it's going to open the door to a lot of sort of personalized pieces that way too. But yeah, I think I was laughing that I put elevator music composers out of the shop. Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much.
I noticed lots of people come in after, actually Christine started the talk, so if you need some of this talk, you can go to YouTube, because Ryan knows that on our website, the meetup, follow the link, because now it's online stream, it's on YouTube. And additionally, actually, if you like this type of, event, or they can share, or you are a big one for technology. So, actually, in July 26th, Dr. Dasher and Brianna here, and represent Stanford US Asian Technology Center will hold, Technology Management Center will hold the Japan US Innovation Awards symposium. So welcome welcome you to come to this symposium. And also, okay, so our next speaker, actually, his company's background is a little bit interesting, I think. So my first question is, has anybody heard of self-driving car in China? Yes? Okay, which company? Are you working in Momentum? No. Okay, great. Okay. So, and any other companies?
Why?
Baidu, Tencent, Alibaba, they are big players. Come on, we focus on some, let's have some exciting small players. Which industry you are working for?
Besides,
Okay, yeah. So actually, our next speaker, we will write that his presentation. He actually is from China's self-driving car industry, and he is a VP of Moving Global, which is a self-driving car company, and also he's the head of North American division. His name is Sean Zhu. Sean's background is a little bit funny, quite interesting because he actually holds 4 startup high-tech companies. And today, he will give us to talk about autonomous driving, not just saving drive, the space revolution. Welcome, Sean Zhu.
Hi everyone, I'm Sean from Moving. I'm actually more on the business side. I know you guys might expect more technology side, but anyway, I'm gonna give you a little bit more about the concept on the autonomous driving, what we're doing. We are doing the route delivery. We are not just delivering goods, but instead we deliver space. Here is, we found out that space between humans are really has a really tight relationship. Like only how our relationship is we found that it's defined by the space. For example, the family, how we define family is the house. The living room, how you define husband and wife, the bedroom, right? Someone getting into that bedroom and not husband and wife, right? The relationship is going otherwise. And how you define your workers, how you define students. Okay, workers in this office, right? You come and go, and that's the only place you can. And if you want to add more information, more relationship, more kindness, you need to work with your co-workers to the restaurant or to the shopping center. Then you guys develop a stronger relationship with these two friends. So that's we think and we believe the space is actually define the relationship. And also, in this slide, like how we access space. We are like right now we are modern people are more like a space shifter. Like every day we shift between spaces. Right? You go home, you stay in the living room, you go to the bathroom, you go to the bathroom. Then you wake up from your bedroom and you shift it to the living room, shift it to your car, and shift it to your office every day. So then we lead to the transportation is actually help us moving from one space to another. Probably is more efficient. And here comes our concept. So we put the space on top of the autonomous driving chassis. So the space is actually coming to us. So instead of we to adopt the space, so we have to work, we have to drive the car probably 10 or to 1 hour to here or to school, right? We have the shopping center, we have to go to the mall, and we have to get a coffee at a 7-Eleven. So it's hard to find out what makes sense, right? To having the space can come to us. Here's our current product. We have an autonomous driving vehicle chassis that we can put the different space on top of that chassis. It's more like a phone applications. You have a smartphone, you install different application on your phone. You have a chassis, you can put a different cabin on top of that chassis. It could be a store, be a restaurant, be a coffee, it could be a locker, it could be anything that needs done that. Or you could even more, you could provide the services as well. And this is actually the product looks like the chassis. The size, the demo size is about 2.4 meter long and 1.6 wide. But the size can be adjusted. It can be smaller and it can be bigger. And it can be several chassis combined together. That's one of our prototype. It's a coffee machine actually. To the automated robotic hand to make coffee. And it tastes pretty good. And all the heat, the coffee machine is automated associated with the robotic hand. And what's our business model? Normally, it is how long to take a regular store, cafe, or gym, or supermarket to open a new store. And that's how long, by weeks, 20 weeks for cafe, small size, 30 weeks for gym, a medium sized gym, a supermarket, 60 weeks, just like a Walmart, probably take out to 60 weeks. And for us, to get a chassis and the cabin ready, only costs us around 4 to 6 weeks. And the coverage, in terms of the starting, like any store, if it's more than 5 miles, people are unlikely to build our store. And so the coverage is pretty much under 5 miles. Especially coffee, there's a lot of coffee store if it's too far, and you probably will need a chain and supermarket. But for chassis, pretty much what I put down 20 miles actually can cover a whole city or even a whole state, depending on how many cars you have. And that's our another type of a scenario. That when there is a city, it's human have a building. So when there is a car at another dimension, like the city we have a road, the city is pretty much designed. There is a design by Henry Ford when there is a lot of cars. So we have a lot of roads divided the city, we have to do the transportation, all the structures. And on this stage, autonomous driving is not just a signal, right? But it's actually how the space is floating. Right now, for the vehicle, it's floating in just one dimension, horizontally. And in the future, even the building can be moving up and down. We also run an organization called the Open City that it's based on this scenario. The space is floating. The city is actually floating. It's not like this building is there. Once it's done, construction is there. It's not going to be changed probably for 100 years. But for the new city, the city actually can be changed depending on the resident, the need of the residents. The different, it's grow like a human being. And besides making the chassis, we also discovered a way to use the metal 3D printing plus generative design to develop car manufacturing. I don't know any of you heard of generative design before? Yeah, only a handful of the organizations using generative design. Generative design is actually actually zero constraint. It's not like a design actually graphic or the shape I want. I just give a constraint that to the computer. The computer actually gave out tons of options based on the constraint that I gave to the and that's one of the design for the car chassis I put up here. And using 3D printing, metal 3D printing, it can making that form of design. And by using the traditional car manufacturer cannot using the traditional way to making this. And from design to finished product, the first time we tried took us 15 days, and the material is Luna. We spent about 100,000, spent about 1,000 USD. And recently we changed some process during the printing. It nailed down to 5 days to print the structure. This is about 300 kg a week. So we believe that the new way of manufacturing is also helping us to helping us to against the other competitor. Because like our phone, we don't actually pay a lot for the iOS if you use an Apple. We don't actually pay much for Android if you use other phones. The margin cost is very, very low for each phone on the market. And the most cost, we did a calculation, the most cost for the electric product is about 85%. That's why we have a deep relationship on the 3D printing and new way of manufacturing. Is on the long run, it will be easier to reduce the cost of the 3D product and reduce the significant time of making the vehicle. Here's a little video about the 3D printing. And it just, this is our factory in China.
Is speeded?
Yeah. What's that?
The video speeded?
Yes. And to make this even faster, not just press the forward button, right? We can actually add more hands. We can have 2 or 3 printers working on one project at the same time. We also host a lot of hackathons towards autonomous driving vehicle and OpenCV projects. Those 3 hackathons we hosted last year. Pretty good. 200 engineers from 15 countries. They actually went to Guiyang, the southwest of China. Had the fun of doing the hands-on on the autonomous driving vehicle and also the design for the generative design. We plan to have one here in California, well, this area, probably sometime in August. We don't know we are gonna be more focused on autonomous driving or more focused on the open city project. If you guys are interested, you can check out our website, also give me an email. This is our current team. We actually have 28 people. That's this page only 58, so it's our whole team. And speaking of Alexander, then will lead us to the algorithm we use. It's called the hardware driving vehicle. It's open source. You guys also can check on their website. Okay, here's my information. We're pretty much talking about space and relationship and how we access the space, how we turn around if the space close to us. The chassis is more like a phone, where a different pattern on top of that phone. Our business model, it can help the retailer to grow so fast. If they want to achieve 1,000 stores, probably will only take half-years. And it took Starbucks to open 14,000 stores, took 13 years, I guess. In fact, the issue is generative design and the 3D printing manufacturing. And the hackathons come up. We also, if you guys are students, it's welcome to internship at our office. It will be established in Sunnyvale in July, and you can just always shoot it.
Thank you, Sean. I have bad news. Unfortunately, our last speaker still not showed up. So I think we could take 5 minutes of break or otherwise, we'll see. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of traffic, actually, it took about 20 minutes to find parking here. The whole parking garage was pretty packed. You don't? No. You sound like you did, I'm sorry. No, it's just sad. Oh, my apologies. For some reason I thought it was, so I'm not the only one to make that mistake. It's not a mistake, no. Okay. It's just life. Yeah. I've been in the US for 30 years, but I mean, there's so many Russians and Philippines. I live there. My apologies. Well, I don't like when people presume, so I don't. It's normal, I don't like to presume, I don't like when people presume on you, but it's been so many people around recently that, working separately.
I'm helping out with
presentation. Who's the last, I mean, I was hoping to be here at 6, there's one more person there.
Like what you said, right? Imagine there's a karaoke booth. So that needs to go to the national. Drive field, so we don't have anybody else. So we want to do last year karaoke. Instead of.
Here.
Let's
do this one.
Or an hour.
Oh, these, yeah.
Yeah.
This is Florence, by the way. She's the funding partner of ASUG here in America.
Yeah, I didn't know what was happening.
There was a lot of traffic and things like that.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
I will call it off or, yeah.
Yeah. No, there's yeah. So, yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
I thought you were
Yeah, we did, right?
So this is all organized for flags.
Okay.
She's the funding partner of this.
So we're not going to talk about this, sir. We're going to talk about the history of the and what has been happening. It has research from MIT, It's good. So they're professor in case.
Yeah, that is so cool. Yeah, that is great.
And so,
So in that case, I have a lot of you're right, 19. Oh, we need to go from New England too. Yeah.
Yeah, in case of the
Yeah, this is, I cannot believe that.
well, that would be very generous.
Yeah, this is great.
No worries.
No, I'm running around with you.
Especially with the
Very strange. Areas to get
That's okay, I guess we should do some damage control now.
Yeah.
And hopefully focus on keeping people entertained. I'll take my laptop out.
So.
Yeah, no worries. Oh, sorry. There's we actually do education too. We collaborate.
He's working on yeah.
Then I don't even mind.
No, but next time I will invite my students. Sure. So, yes. It's great. Yeah.
We are also in the next one.
Yeah.
Normally there's several things going on. basically the first line up here. Usually I'm gonna say it's like, but there's an event, there's
It's interesting, right? So chatbots are very, very widespread.
Okay, cool.
No worries.
No, I know.
They are not.
Great.
Very, not very good. We go from like doing things that much. It's very, not the duration. Personally, I don't like them either. So,
Hello, okay, great. So, since the traffic is not, so our speaker just arrived, so.
I understand. Just be sure.
Third party that makes sense here.
We're good. Yeah.
Hello, everyone, please take a seat. Yeah, our speaker, from Facebook just arrived, so please take a seat. Yeah.
Lawrence, turn on the mic.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay. Hello, hello. Okay. Great. Okay. Our last speaker actually wait for you a little bit long, and it's a Pei Zhao Zhang. Actually, he is a research scientist, and he joined after a very important meeting and come to here. And thank you very much. And actually, Pei Zhao Zhang is a research scientist at Facebook, working on efficient deep learning for mobile. His work includes developing efficient models as well as automatic architecture search. He holds a PhD in computer science from Texas A&M University. Today, he will talk about hardware-aware deep neural network design. Welcome.
I'm based out of Facebook. I'm working in the so we're working on diffusion deep learning for mobile. So the project talking about our deep learning network design. So basically, so some application of deep learning network in Facebook, and then some of the architecture search algorithm we are using. So basically, here's one example that we are doing like. This is a photo demo that Facebook just launched last year. That inside that we are using both applications where it's running an efficient deep learning model inside. Another example here we have is name tag, where it's in Instagram that you can use to add people. You utilize this text detection and recognition methods we have in mobile. and this next one is for like hand tracking, where we do like people estimation for hands and then some effects on top of that. So you can like estimate your hand pose, like very accurate and run on mobile. So all our these models that run on mobile is based on our automated architecture technology, where it's for deep learning network, we try to make it faster and make higher accuracy and also smaller size of mobile. So we have different methods to do that. Like we can build a manually design a model. We can do like low precision quantization. We can also do other methods to make it higher accurate, like distillation or tuning or weighting to make it smaller. And architecture search is one of the methods we are using now. So previously, many networks are using like menu search. So we basically try to find a small network that works as good. Like we want to do it manually. We want to do it automatically. That we want to use the computer to find these efficient networks. So this year we actually proposed an adaptation framework that giving a model search space some like different constraints. We can try to find the best model that under this constraint. So this is our work that will be presented in CVPR this year, which is like next 2 weeks. Basically our framework is like 2 parts. On the left side is like it's a search path that gives you some like predictor, including like accuracy predictor, latency predictor, as well as the energy predictor. And then we are doing the search on top of that for different constraints, under different constraints in given scenario. For example, if we are looking for a model that runs for 100 milliseconds, we can do a search on using this predictor quickly, and then it will give us the model that gives the best performance under this constraint. So to build this, we do the search on top of this predictors. So we have 3 types of predictor, including an accuracy predictor, a latency predictor, and energy predictor. I will describe each of them in the next slide. So for accuracy predictor, the goal is we have a search space. We try to find a small set of samples architecture that can produce efficient that we can use to predict to represent the whole search space in ED. So the way we do that is like first step we try to randomly sample from the search space, and then we train those models using to get the accuracy. And then based on these samples, we do some we build a predictor using Bayes optimization to build a Gaussian process model. We use this model to predict how accurate of these samples in the search space. And then we do based on this result, we do some selection on the next batch of the samples to get more samples, and then we train those samples again. We update the predictor using this new sample. We do this several times to get the final predictor. So we basically usually we only need to train a few hundred training flows. Or we only need to train a few hundred of samples to get an accurate enough predictor. So when we are sampling doing sampling on the search space, we are not just like randomly samples. We select the samples based on what we need. So using 2 criteria. One is that we want to find the samples that is higher accurate. So we want to find a model that is close to the top left part because those are like higher grade model, but also like smaller size. The flops here represent the size of the model. So we want the model size to be small, and at the same time we want them to be like accurate. So we sample more data on this part. At the same time, we also try to not come into some like local minimum. So we also try to find some samples that have large variance during the accuracy predictor. Because we are using Gaussian process, so it gives us not only the accuracy of the model, it also gives us variance of this accuracy. So we use these two criteria to select each set of samples, and then we keep updating the predictor. Based on this result, this is how we build the accuracy predictor. And here we talk about how do we build a latency predictor. So for the accuracy predictor, we only need to build it once. So we can build a model in a search space that cover from a small model to large model. For example, running for like 2 milliseconds, or to a large model to 200 milliseconds. When we actually and it's independent of the actual device. And for the latency predictor, we are actually building the predictor for each device separately. So we build a predictor for the Samsung CPU on mobile. It's like Samsung SA mobile phone. We build that for iPhone. We build that for the Samsung it's a DSP. It's also on a Samsung S8. We also have experiment on the Intel CPU and NVIDIA GPU as well. So here's an example of how accurate of our latency to compute. So one form of the predictor is just like we compute, we benchmark each operator, each layer in the model separately, and then the total runtime of the model is the sum of each layers. So you can see here, it's actually quite accurate. So here's our search space. We have two search spaces. The left one was like the search space for efficient model that runs on mobile. So it's based on the recent paper that from MongoDB2, where it proposed inverse residual building block. So we try to search on top of this building block. The search space including like different input resolution, different for the building block we have different input output channel size. So we have searched from different size for each layer. So we also try to search the how many repeats in the for each building block. And also for this kind of building block, there's something called expansion ratio. So we also search for that. So in general, we have a search space that is already pretty large. On the right side is our search space for the ResNet model. So ResNet is is a large model that usually takes a longer time to run. So it cannot run on mobile, but it runs fast enough on GPU or on the server side. And it also have it's the default deep learning model used today. So for this model, we also search the channel size, the number of repeats, and also the expansion ratio. So yeah. So based on here's an example of how our model looks like after the search. So the blue one on the x-axis is the float distribution of each stage of the model, and the y-axis is the floats, which represent the computational cost of each stage. So we can see that this MongoDB2 model is more evenly distributed during all its stages. But for our model, we can actually see that from these orange colors that our our model is like more heavy held, that on the stage like 5 and 6, it has much more, like almost twice the computation, the flops as the modern NV2 model. But overall, we put much less computation at the first 2 stages, stage 0 and stage 1. So although they are overall computation, their overall flops are the same. Our model is actually like more efficient. And the green line here shows that the flops per second. So it's computed based on the Samsung device. So it shows that like if we put more flops on at the end of the model, it's actually more efficient because I think it's mainly because of in the later stage, the model has the input feature map has the input feature map size is smaller because of this capturing and this different optimization. So it's again more efficient. So here's some of our results. For when we build a latency predictor model for the ImageNet application task. So this ImageNet application is one of the most standard way to test this the performance of a model on the application task. So it has 1,000 outputs for different tasks. Here the curve on top is our results. The model searched by our algorithm. So and we compare to several different models at different resolutions, including like MONNet V2, StratoNet V2, and also MNASNet. Those are like papers from last year and some of early, most of them are from last year. And we can see that our model outperformed all these methods by a large margin, especially when the latency is small. For those MONNet V2 model, they are actually hand-designed model. That they are designed at about 50 milliseconds. Their original model runs at around 50 milliseconds. So we can see that there, the gap between our model and their model is smaller. But when we come to the smaller size, like 4 milliseconds or 3 milliseconds, our model is actually 8% better than their model because our model is found by search, and if you just linearly scale down the model, it won't perform well. So here's another comparison example for our hardware-aware architecture search. So on the left side was the model search for iPhone X, and so we have 2 models that will apply the same search.
Sorry to interrupt you. Do you mind going to the previous slide?
Sure.
So this is very interesting, but last week Google announced EfficientNet. How does this compare to EfficientNet?
So EfficientNet is mainly for large models. So they are targeting for the model flops that are billions or something. But our model here is only for efficient models, very small model. That most of our model flops are only a few hundred M flops. So they are targeting for different area. Yeah. But actually those models are using similar building blocks, just they are searched under different space. So another this is an example comparing to the our model, our architecture search algorithm using different latency predictor. So we search a model for iPhone X. This blue one. We compare. We try to get them. We try to get the model accuracy. So on the same model runs at 20 milliseconds on iPhone X. It actually runs at 24 milliseconds on Samsung S8. And on the other side, we search a model on Samsung S8, it runs like 22 milliseconds, but on Android, but it runs like 27 milliseconds on iPhone. And both models have the same accuracy. So it shows that like our algorithm is very efficient to targeting for different hardware. So here shows the computational complexity of our artificial search algorithm. So basically, our search only need to view is linear to the number of like samples we need and the number of predictors we need. So because we are decoupled the accuracy prediction from the latency prediction, so we can build those two predictors separately, and then we can do the search together. And comparing to other methods like AMC or MorphNet, where they are coupling them together, so they need to do both they need to search at the same time that considering the latency and the accuracy. So their computational complexity is much higher than our method. So here's another result that's showing on the DSP. So DSP is a fixed point hardware accelerator that makes the model run faster, but it has some different properties than a normal CPU or GPU. For example, the kernel size of this model needs to be a multiple of 32, otherwise it will be very slow. So we can see a bigger gap on this model comparing to the search model we have and some other standard models. So because the latency will go faster if they don't. For example, the channel size is not in this range. It's another example showing that the efficiency of our predictor, because we only need to build one accuracy predictor, and then we can apply it, and we can search it on different devices using different latency predictor. And here's another example that we show for search the model for GPU. It's based on the ResNet model, and we still see good improvement based comparing to the standard ResNet model. And here's another example on this GPU. So we see similar results here. So the final step is the energy predictor that nowadays is especially for embedded device. Like besides energy, besides latency, we also very care about the energy. So we want to find a model that has low power consumption, so they can save the power of the battery. The experiment we did here is that we do that for we're still using this Snapdragon 835 CPU, which is the CPU on the Samsung S8. We replace the battery with the power monitor, so we can measure the power of the when we're running the network. So we run the network 1,000 times and measure the latency. So we measure the current. Based on that, we can build a prediction. We can build a prediction model to predict how accurate of this how we can build a predictor to predict the energy of giving a CNN network. So here's a search result. So we're still using the same accuracy predictor, but searching with the energy predictor, and then we still see much improvement on the energy side. So for example, for the model that using only 20 joule, that our model achieve the data that is like almost 10% higher accuracy. And also for other models, we also see similar results for other predictors. So I think this is the conclusion. So our idea is we build a predictor. We do the search on top of the predictor. We are also the work that was like focusing on real latency instead of using a positive like floats to represent the latency of the model. So our architecture search algorithm is very efficient. It's like independent of the hardware, and then it can be compiled with different predictors. So it's much more. The computational cost is much less than other methods. So it's helpful for hardware and software network co-design because like based on different like latency predictor for specific hardware, then we can search the model directly. Compared to the state-of-the-art result, we are way better, especially in some like small model that we have like up to 8% improvement on the ImageNet application models. Yeah, I think that's it.
I apologize. At the beginning, the audio wasn't great. So you showed us this video of Oracle product, right? Like,
Yes.
How does it connect to your talk? I'm not quite sure.
So Portal has a feature called like smart cooking. So when you are working inside the portal, in front of the portal, it will not show the full camera. It will only show the person that is working. So it looks like the camera is working with you. So I'm actually like the camera can see the full image, but it blocks out the person. So under that, like it's actually using some person detection, deploy information technology. So we are actually working with them previously to provide this technology to them. So their model is run on the device. So it needs to be fast, it needs to be efficient, so that it can run like very quickly. Yeah. So that is the basic idea of why we want to do like efficient deep learning of mobile.
So for every new device or hardware, would you create a new model or use another model?
What you mean like production or? Yeah. So basically we will divide the device into several groups. For each group we will build a model for them. It will not be for a single device, it will be a group of devices.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll see you next month.
Thank you. Kind of, in a way. Yeah. I work for this company called Samsung. Yeah, so it's a big speaking assistant. Very popular.